Welcome back. I'm glad to report Jacqueline didn't tuck her dress in her knickers this time round. However, she did accidentally go into the men's, or at least she said it was accidental.
It was.
Yeah, of course it was. And if you stay tuned, here's a bit of a hook and tease for you. The little video of Jacqueline that you saw at the front, there's a story that goes with that. And if you stay with us throughout the course of the afternoon, I'll tell you.
That was told to you in confidence.
Yeah, get over yourself. I'm a journalist. You never tell the journalist anything in confidence. She'll learn. Now, let's hear it from another of our sponsors. From the Manchester law firm of solicitors Hall Brown, here's Claire Reid.
Hall Brown Family Law are thrilled to be supporting this year's Inspiring Women Awards, especially after the last 14 months and all of the events that have taken place. We are sponsoring the Inspiring Young Women Awards, which resonates in particular with our firm. Hall Brown recently celebrated its 5th birthday, and so is relatively young itself. The firm also benefits from a very high proportion of young female members of the team. Hall Brown also has links to a number of local undergraduate education establishments, providing sponsorship for a number of students, giving them the opportunity to fulfil their dreams. This year's Inspiring Young Women Awards is very impressive in terms of the category and the finalists. All of the finalists are truly inspirational. We feel humbled and honoured to be able to support them in their category. Well done to all of the finalists this year. Many congratulations.
And we're incredibly grateful to all of our sponsors, without whom the awards just wouldn't happen. You bring an expertise and a knowledge and a generosity.
Nicely put.
I know. Who'd have known it? Now, as we've already heard this afternoon from Grace Vella, women have a place on the pitch, but our next nominee proves that they also have a place in the boardroom. Please meet Everton Football Club's Chief Executive Officer and one of the most prominent and respected women in sport, Professor Denise Barrett Baxendale, MBE. So let's talk about your relationship with Everton then. How did it all begin?
Well, I've been a lifelong fan and my family are all Evertonians. So my sort of association and connection in Liverpool, you sort of inherit your name, your religion and your football club. So I was born into an Evertonian Evertonian family. So I've always had that connection with the club. But then in 2009, I was headhunted by the then chief executive to come and help with a project that they had that they needed some support on in terms of change management. So that's when I joined the club. I then became Chief Operating Officer, then Deputy Chief Exec, and then more recently, 3 years ago, Chief Executive. So I've been there for 11 years now and gone through all different types of departments and structures within the club. And I'm now sort of very privileged to be the Chief Executive leading the football club at a very exciting time.
So you've worked your way up the ranks in a relatively short amount of time. I take it you've never taken any holiday.
No, neither my staff either, sadly. So it's not a time when I think like most sort of senior positions, it's a lifestyle choice, isn't it? Particularly football, it's 6 days a week. And then, on the 7th day, you're catching up for the week ahead and preparing for what's coming next. So it is a lifestyle choice. But, I suppose it's a fantastic job to have, a real privilege to have, but the responsibility you have on behalf of the fans is incredible. And therefore it weighs very heavy on your shoulders to make sure you get everything right. I mean, in any other circumstance, I think a fan would be referred to as a customer, but in our line of work, if you were a customer for British Gas or Scottish Power and you didn't like the service, you could change and go to somebody else. But if you're not happy with the service you get from Everton, you're not going to cross the park and change your football club. So for me, I think that's really important. And it means even more to make sure you get it right, because the fans can't make a choice. They love their football club. So therefore, the leadership team has to get it right for them.
Despite the growing recognition for women in football, still the majority of the top jobs are done by men. What do you think needs to change?
I think there's a number of things we have to do. I think for senior women who are in those positions, to profile it properly, to make sure that other women understand that they can achieve that position and that it's not just there for the small minority, that these jobs are open and available, and it's all about hard work, graft. There's no shortcuts. You have to be able to, continue your education, be the best you can be in the field, but actually apply for it and have the confidence to move forward. So I think profiling and obviously the role model perspective. I know people talk about percentage weighting of females in organisations. I don't really ascribe to that, because I think if we're good enough, we should have as many as we need. We shouldn't just be happy with a 25% ratio because somebody else tells us that that's compliant. So I think about, for people like myself to create opportunities, to join networks, to talk to other senior leaders, female and male, because I've had significant support from my colleagues who are non-female, so to be able to create great networks and to be confident and to just aspire to be whatever you want to be, work hard, focus on it. It's relentless. It has to be relentless focus and you'll achieve it. So I think we are at Everton seeing a lot more females attracted to work within our football club. And so that's fantastic for us. We want to continue on that drive.
So what next for you then, and indeed for the club?
Well, we had 3 weeks ago now, we had our announcement that we'd received approval to build our new stadium on the waterfront. So that's a magnificent project for us to be involved in. So it will be a 3-year project on the waterfront in Merseyside, just on Liverpool's waterfront. And alongside that, the sort of regeneration of where we're situated at the moment at Goodison Park. So a regeneration of Goodison Park as well. So we have this £500 million waterfront stadium and then £100 million community development, which will happen at Goodison Park. So a huge sort of regeneration project, both in terms of stadia and then community provision back at base, which I think will keep us busy for some years to come. So we're all very much focused on that, as well as obviously the game that we're in, which is winning games each Saturday. So again, driving forward to win trophies and compete at the very top of the league.
You're not going to get any holidays in the future, are you?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Well, congratulations on your nomination and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Well, Denise is stuck in traffic. Somebody had to be, I guess. So that's the bad news.
Yeah, I've tried driving into Liverpool every now and again. It's not the easiest.
The good news is that I'm going to ask you to accept this on her behalf.
Gosh, I'd love to.
So, Denise.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, you are both blonde, but business winner of the year, business award
she
winner.
looked natural. I'm not. Thank you. I'm speechless. I do appreciate it. I wouldn't mind one of them actually on my mantelpiece.
Well, Denise, this is winging its way to Everton Football Club.
You give with one hand and you take with the other.
I know. And we'd like to wish you happy birthday. Have a great time this evening.
Now, when we look back on this century, there are going to be a few issues which will feature. But let's be honest, one of the big ones has got to be the way that we use and abuse our planet. Environmental protection, better resource management, social responsibility, recycling, how we treat our neighbours, be they round the corner or around the globe. They're all issues which shape our present and they will determine our future. Some have said our world is in crisis. Well, I want you to meet the woman who runs one of the fastest growing emergency services in Greater Manchester, Lucy Danger. Let me just quote this, because this particular set of figures, I have to say, blew my metaphorical socks off. Since the start of lockdown, FareShare Greater Manchester has received over 1,400 tonnes of food and supplied the equivalent of 3,118,203 meal portions to 50,000 people
that in itself is astonishing, absolutely astonishing. And for that alone, you deserve a
wait
week.
for it, Michelle. Wait for it. You need the up-to-date figures.
Oh, Lord.
Because if you count the whole year, we've done 3,400 tonnes, which is more than double what we did for the same period. So the prior year we did 1,500. This last year we've done 3,400 tonnes. So we've actually hit our 7 million meals sort of target without even having the new building. So we're a bit like, whoa. But worryingly, I mean, this is probably not for this interview, but worryingly, it's all fallen off a cliff, and the shelves, and I've been down there briefly this morning, and the shelves are really empty, and it's all a bit like, oh, what's going on? Fair Share UK, help. But
why are the shelves empty?
So we had this massive amount of extra food, which was purchased through DEFRA, thanks to Fair Share UK cutting a deal, and DEFRA putting aside some money to support people who were shielding and vulnerable, and that a lot of that food was supported out into the community through a lot of our community food members, organisational beneficiaries. So we've surpassed that 1,400 a long time ago, but it's just been an unbelievable year in terms of our growth, and the challenge now is how we sustain. Well, I appreciate, from the point of view of majority of us, it's a very bittersweet success, isn't it, in a way? Why the heck is there so much food poverty, and is really surplus food the answer? Well, clearly it's not. The answer is a basic income for everybody. That means they can go and buy what they want. But in the meantime, there is all of this surplus food because of the dislocation between supply and demand. I don't want to be too boring about this, but the reality is, supermarkets, as we all know, that's where most people buy their food. There's a dislocation between supply and demand. There's a lot of surplus food in the food chain, even though it's really super efficient. And what we're trying to do is capture that, rescue that food, and make sure it gets used first and foremost by people who can least afford it at the moment, and hopefully help them on a journey towards being in a position that they don't need us. There are some companies who are regularly supplying us what surpluses they have through a variety of reasons as to why that happens. But often we are dependent on finding new companies and trying to secure more regular supply chains of food. So we have now managed to put in place an actual worker who's specifically helping us develop our relationships with the food industry in the Northwest. And obviously we work very closely with Fair Share UK, but we're pretty dependent on short-dated and where the difficulties have occurred in the supply chain, accessing that food and proving ourselves to be a reliable, food safe,
intermediary.
Intermediary, that's the word.
That's it. So you mentioned earlier on about the new building. Tell us about it.
So we've been chipping away at the council for a long time. Well, I have personally been knocking on that door and trying to persuade them. The lease is very, very nearly with us. Well, it's been a rocky bit of negotiation, but we're nearly there. It's taken 10 years, I think, to secure.
Wow.
But because it's literally adjacent to us, this building, it's been kind of one of those where you like, it's looming, it's looking at you, winking at you all the time, and you're sort of thinking, gonna have to go back to them again. It's just there. So haven't let it go really, but and there've been times where we've waned off and gone off and looked for other things, and none of that's worked out. So we've come back around full circle. We've now got contractors in. We're probably going to end up spending a bit more money than we originally thought or hoped. but it's going ahead. We're refurbishing the building. It's going to allow us to treble, if not quadruple, our depot space, and the whole configuration of it is much improved compared to what we've got, certainly for Fair Share. Recycling has to slightly reconfigure itself, and that will be fine. And then we'll have this fantastic big yard to operate all of our main activities within, which will be a lot safer as well. So, and we'll have some brilliant staff facilities for paid employees and volunteers. And hopefully in the future, we'll start to see corporates coming back again as well.
If you win this award, what will it mean for you?
I'll be very proud to receive the award. And I think from the point of view of our company, it's something to, it's a showpiece, isn't it? I'm not sure that's the right word, but sorry,
so you need to put in a special shelf in the new building, glass fronted, just for the award. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Top shelf. There we go.
Top shelf. Nobody's touching it. Only gets touched when it needs dusting. Sounds like a plan.
I have to say, I was pretty shocked to have been nominated, because I'm a lucky recipient of one of these awards. So I'm a bit sort of bowled over, really.
Ah, there you are, Lucy. Oh my God, you've put makeup on. I don't think I've ever seen you in makeup. That took me by surprise. Well, having insulted you, but in a nice way, Lucy, I'm delighted to present you with the extraordinary people in extraordinary times, Lucy, because that is just what you are. And your leadership of Fair Share in particular in these last times, doubling outputs, has been amazing. 12-hour days, social distancing. I really don't know how you've done it, so congratulations. You can speak now, Luce.
Oh my goodness. I have to say, there's so much going on here in this, with all the background. Sorry, thank you so much. I'm absolutely thrilled to bits.
Well, it's another one for your shelf.
I'm getting all kinds of Can I say something?
Of course you can.
Can I say some thank yous? Am I allowed?
Yeah, of course you can.
It's like the Oscars. I'd like to thank my agent, my mum.
I'm just getting all this feedback. How do I stop it?
What are you asking Jacqueline for?
I don't know. I keep getting.
She thinks the whole thing is run on cold.
Sorry about this.
I think you're still on the other Zoom
I've got some
call.
technical issues going on. Right, speak. So, what? I'm getting all this feedback. I don't know what's going on.
You're on 2 calls.
Just talk. We'll work our way through it.
All right. I just want to say it's a huge boost for us. I want to dedicate it to our amazing team of hardworking, conscientious staff and volunteers, our incredible board, all of our trustees, our patrons, our wonderful community food members. I'd like to also say a special word. I get all of you to say a little prayer to the universe for our chair, who many of you know is a friend. Certainly, she's a friend to us all. Bridget Egan, who is currently battling with cancer. So, just want to, all of you need to root for her, and have a great day, and thank you very much again.
Thank you. And Bridget is actually waiting for the text to see if you've won, Lucy. So I think that's your next job. And lovely words. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So, let's be honest. Despite our best efforts, women in today's society are still facing problems. You only have to pick up the newspaper to see the kind of issues that we're still facing on a daily basis. Safety, bullying, harassment, exploitation, inequality in the workplace. I mean, I could go on and on,
Please don't.
No, well, I'll try not to. But instead, I want you to meet a woman who hasn't let society dictate to her what her life and indeed her career should be. She has smashed more than a few glass ceilings. I'm reliably told there's a good chance she could have done a few of them with a gun. Meet from Merseyside Police, Detective Chief Inspector Alison Woods.
Pinch myself sometimes to think, you know, I'm a female gay detective chief inspector who works in serious organised crime in Merseyside. My superintendent is also a female, and we often have a chat outside on the landing to say, who'd have thought that Merseyside Police Serious Organised Crime has got an all-female command team, got a detective chief inspector who's got a heavy background in surveillance, firearms, leading people, team mentality. The first sergeant within firearms, female sergeant, to be nationally accredited as a female tactical firearms advisor. The first, when I was a surveillance operative, I then become the first surveillance operative to be firearms trained in police accredited tactics. I've become the first female senior command team member within investigation serious organised crime. But none of this was done intentional. I've just been me. I've worked with some fantastic people, irrespective of race, gender, anything. I've worked with some fantastic people. I've not been treated any different through being female, gay, whatever it is. No kids, nothing. I've had an absolutely brilliant career so far, and I've also mentored younger members of staff, because sometimes I don't see myself as anything special, and I really don't, because I just think, well, I've just been me, and I've had an absolute blast of a journey in the 23 years, and I never thought for 1 minute that I'd be sitting here as a DCI. You know, you look at Jane Tennyson on Prime Suspect and you think, no, there's no way that's me. But I must have a bit of a serious streak somewhere, because, you know, I pinch myself at DCI, you know, and I think, oh, wow, you know, people stand up and, you know, Mom, when you enter rooms, and I think, oh, are they talking to me? It's me. And I think, what's going on? You need to appreciate this, Ali, a little bit more. But I don't see myself as anything special. It's only when people have said to me, listen, you know, when you look back at your service, you're a real visible role model. But I do make myself available to staff. You know, I've got a number of people who I mentor, both from a lateral development perspective and a promotional perspective. And you alluded to the Girls Network as well, which is an external charity, really, I suppose. And it probably not plucked on my heartstrings, but it just, the circumstances of embarking on that as a candidate and a mentor, it reminded me of me, I suppose, when I was that young tearaway of a female child who could have gone either way due to, you know, where I lived, the upbringing of it. My mum and dad would never have a day where I missed school. Blimey, I needed there wasn't a chance that I was allowed to miss school. But in many ways, you know, young girls from socially deprived areas who may need a little inspiration, a little encouragement, just to show what's possible. You know, don't think for one moment, just because I'm from, or just because this happened to me, or just because of this, just because of that, just because of nothing. Opportunities are absolutely there for everyone. Sometimes you might need a little bit of belief. Sometimes you might need a little bit of a leg up as well from somebody. And if I can provide that, if I can assist them just through getting people to believe what's possible, then if I can do it, then, you know, anyone can do it. And maybe it's just a bit of belief sometimes as well, because the police suffer from retention in underrepresented groups as an organisation as well. And I think that's probably why I've not only embarked on the mentor and to bring people along, but it's that shared journey to give people a real positive experience. And if someone is struggling a little bit for whatever reason, whether they're considering leaving the organisation for the right or wrong reasons, then I'll always make myself available to staff just to try and understand what the troubles, issues, aspirations are, I suppose. But yeah, I don't see myself as anything special. I just see myself as me. If I were to win it, I mean, I'd just be flabbergasted, because I just consider, because I'm just going about things and doing the best I can, both for me, my family, my friends, the community, and getting the best outcome we can possibly achieve, to be recognised and rewarded for that. I'd just be absolutely astounded, really, because I do consider me, I've had an absolute great career. I've achieved fantastic things in sport, and I've met some amazing people. And if it ended up in winning, well, I'd just be astounded, really. I think my mum would die on the spot.
Hi, Alison.
Hello.
We all want to be in your gang.
Well, I'm not sure my gang's a real gang, to be all in my head at times.
Well, I'm pleased that the Chiz here to my right didn't give anything away during your interviews, and I hope your mum doesn't drop down.
I'm a really bad paid informant, aren't I?
Well, you are.
Yeah.
And I hope your mum doesn't drop down dead, because
Well, she's downstairs.
Alison, Here Come the Girls 2021 award has your name on it.
It is. I honestly, I just absolutely, just completely taken aback by it, really, because, as I said on my interview, I don't see myself as doing anything special. I'm just me. We're all only here once, and we're all only having. We can't have a repeat performance. We're here to have a good time. And you know what? We can't do what we achieve on our own. We need an absolute solid team around us. So this award is not just for me. This award is, I consider myself a really, really humble leader. I accept I'm a role model for people. But without that fantastic team I have wrapped around me, I wouldn't even be here today. Hence my nomination here today. So it's brilliant. I'm absolutely overwhelmed. You've driven me to alcohol, which usually
Yay!
I very rarely drink.
I hope your gun's locked up.
I'll be packing heat a little bit later on, but I'll have to task a couple of chizzers first to go and ramp up some sauces, but we'll see how that goes on.
And well done for not giving away who H was.
I know. Do you know? We had a new chief consort in last week, and I was on a Q&A session with her. She said, "Please put your questions in the chat bar." That was my question. Who's H? And everyone else was asking about funds and budget cuts and staff and resources. When we get more staff, mine was, "Who's H?"
Good girl.
Well, Alison, congratulations. You can go and pick up your mum from downstairs, probably on the floor, and celebrate now. Well done.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, and thank you for a fantastic event. Thank you.
Thanks, Alison.
Did you ever try asking Alexa who H was?
But I did see on Facebook
It's very funny.
that she has this answer that's like, I couldn't tell you.
Well, she answers it, or tries to answer it like Ted Hastings, but obviously without the accent. It's very funny. You had to be there, really. I've asked Alexa quite a lot of questions. Alexa, will I ever find love again? I'm sorry, I can't answer that. Oh. That was one of the standard responses. Alexa, am I going to get arrested? Yeah, probably. Listen, we're going to take another break. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. We've still got so much more to come, including our amazing guest speaker. So don't go too far away.